In today's news, some 45 vendors have turned out for this year's Christmas in the City. American Airlines to commence direct flights from Miami to the BVI in June of 2023. AA flights to be affordable, says Premier and Deputy Premier. The Rotary Club of Tortola and Unite BVI partner to restore Roger Downing Mangrove Boardwalk, and VI Motors Napa Store Duff's Bottom sponsors 7 local professionals to Tool and Equipment Expo at Napa Distribution Center. We have the details of this and so much more when 284 News returns.
Hun, it's asking for your password.
Huh?
You were logged out. I need the password.
BR,
What's the rest?
BRANDI, the number 4, EVER?
Who's Brandy?
We're like the password that isn't your ex-girlfriend's name. CG Insurance. Good like that.
I should have changed it.
You should have.
You're right.
Welcome everybody. It's Friday, December 2nd, 2022. I'm Ron Grant coming to you live and direct from the Virgin Islands. A happy Friday to each and every one of you. Thank you so much for joining us. Of course, we have the latest in our news. Beginning on the local scene here in the Virgin Islands, American Airlines is to commence direct flights from Miami to the British Virgin Islands from June 2023. This was announced by the Deputy Premier and Minister for Communications and Works, the Honorable Kai RYMER, this morning. More on this report.
Commencing June 1st, 2023, the British Virgin Islands will welcome daily flights on board American Airlines on a seasonal basis, creating a new bridge of consistent transport between the territory and the United States mainland. The announcement was made by Deputy Premier and Minister for Communications and Works, the Honorable Kai RYMER, on December 2nd.
On June 1st, American Airlines will begin direct flights between Terrence B. Lettsome International Airport at Beef Island and Miami International Airport in mainland USA.
According to RYMER, this new transport option offers persons traveling in and out of the BVI an easier, faster, more convenient option to fit their needs for vacation, business travel, or otherwise.
American Airlines direct service to the Virgin Islands will see daily flights departing Miami at 10:25 a.m., arriving at Beef Island at 1:30 p.m., leaving Beef Island at 2:30 p.m. and arriving in Miami at 5:30. What is even better for us is that Miami is American Airlines' home base, and American Airlines is the largest carrier at Miami International Airport. This means that persons traveling out of the Virgin Islands using this service, including Virgin Islanders, belongers, residents, and visitors, will be able to seamlessly connect to more than 140 destinations that are serviced by American Airlines, including other Caribbean destinations and the rest of the world.
According to RYMER, the flight will be accommodated on board an Embraer E175 aircraft, which he noted, despite being larger than usual, can operate at the Terrence B. Lettsome Airport prior to it being expanded. The minister, who touted the fact that the BVI was able to secure this opportunity with American Airlines at zero cost to taxpayers, said that the airline's decision to take on this flight could be attributed to its confidence in the tourism product of the territory. RYMER also stressed that the new flight schedule promises to be very beneficial to Virgin Islanders who are involved at any level of the tourism industry.
Based on the number of flights per week and the capacity of the aircraft, we are looking at a possible increase of over 100 additional passengers moving per week, or about 455 additional passengers arriving in the Virgin Islands per week. The impact of this will be tremendously positive for us. In the first instance, our people will have the convenience of hopping on a flight and being in Miami within hours. So persons can take their long weekend and holiday getaways, which are a bit more tedious to manage with our current travel options. Automatically, these American Airlines direct flights will mean an increase in economic opportunities for our beautiful Virgin Islands, especially our taxi drivers, tour operators, accommodation property owners, vehicle rental companies, and many other businesses.
Vice President of American Airlines Miami, Juan Carlos Lescano, also chaired the development in a recent release, where he said, quote, "This year, demand had remained strong for Miami travel. We're looking forward to further growth in 2023, with a new and unique destination in the Caribbean that our customers love, the British Virgin Islands." End quote. The release also stated that flights will run throughout the summer period before taking a break and then continuing again in November of 2023. For 284 News, I am Jacques Wooding.
22 British Virgin Islanders and professionals completed the first of its kind FinTech training program and are now certified to help develop the BVI's FinTech ecosystem. The graduates are Henry Creaky, Lorna Smith, Deshaun Douglas, Don Alexander Joseph, McCall Dawson, Courtney Jones, Ronald Emmanuel, Trevon Smith, Elise Donovan, Margaret Jones, Chad Maduru, Kimberly Cupichano, Quita Nisbet Turnbull, Floris Letsam, Lewis, Beverly George, Calvin Parkins, Samantha Sayers, Shanika Smith, Shaquille Byron, Helen Marquise, Carla Hodge, and Michelle Smith. Premier and Minister of Finance of the British Virgin Islands, Dr. the Honorable Natalio D. Wheatley, congratulated the graduates and affirmed his support of the program, highlighting the Government of the Virgin Islands' endorsement of the $60,000 grant as a means to prioritize public service transformation and to show commitment towards digitalizing the government's process and systems to increase efficiency, effectiveness, and service delivery. He said, and I quote, "We believe that the development of the digital economy provides for our business community employment opportunities and revenue for the government, and this investment in tech is a great complement to our existing pillars of financial services and tourism that may become a significant pillar if we properly prioritize ourselves and position ourselves. Having a cadre of fintech professionals is key in meeting this aspiration." Premier Wheatley also thanked all of those who made the planned and executed the program, such as the BVI Finance CEO Elise Donovan, former director of HLSCC's Robert Matavius Institute for Financial Services Dr. Derry Hodge, and founding director of the National University of Singapore FinTech Lab Keith B. Carter, and as well as other instructors from academia and business. Now, the graduates and professionals themselves of Robert Matavius Institute for Financial Services that assisted in any way possible. Professor Keith B. Carter highlighted the global competition within the fintech ecosystem is strong, but that the BVI project presentations were among the best in the capstone projects he had facilitated. He went on to encourage those participants to keep it going and use the fintech ecosystem to their advantage. President of the H. Lavely Style Community College, Dr. Richard Georges, stated that he was extremely impressed with the level of expertise in the showcase by the graduates and commended all those that made the program possible. He said that one of the blessings of being in a small place is the ability to transform it in a speed and a scale that is impossible in larger places. He said, and I quote, "While we may be in the micro state, I encourage you to all continue to think big and outside the box and to think of the ways in which what you are doing with this course can not only create commercial ventures, but a better quality of life for all Virgin Islanders and residents." Permanent Secretary for the Ministry of Education, Dr. Marcia Potter, congratulated the graduates on behalf of the Minister of Education, the Honorable Cherie B. de Castro, saying that it was a pleasure seeing the projects being brought to fruition, and the Ministry of Education was delighted in aiding the first cohort through and will continue to support future programs of its kind. Of course, BVI Finance CEO, Ms. Elise Donovan, who was also an organizer as well as course participant, expressed gratitude to Professor Carter for working alongside herself and Dr. Hodge with BVI Finance and the Robert Matavius Institute to conceptualize the FinTech training program and, of course, for completing the course. Former director of the HLSCC, Dr. Derry A. Hodge Financial Services Aspect, also congratulated the cohort for completing the course and hoped for the continuation of the program. Now, the FinTech training program began in March of 2022, where students completed a coursework phase that featured 4 intensive courses on the fundamentals of FinTech and business-related program, concepts, and a project phase that involve the practical implementation in a local partnering firm. The 4 capstone groups were also FSC FinTech Advisory Group, which focused on robotic process automation, Moneybuzz, which focused on automation in banking, HLB Works Task Management Suite, which focused on task management application, and Transport Me BVI, which focused on automation in DMV services. Participants who completed the FinTech training program were then able to receive their certification in completion from NUS School of Computing. A fully BVI organized and run program will be set up for 2023. Now, the FinTech training program is a collaborative project amongst the HLSCC's Robert Matavius Institute for Financial Services, the BVI Finance, and the government of the Virgin Islands through the Ministry of Education and Culture. Christmas in the City with CCT commenced on Friday with some 45 vendors registered to take part in the 2-day activity, which began around 10 a.m. this morning. Our Kamal Haynes has the report.
It's going to look a lot like Christmas in the city of Rotong today, Friday, December 2nd, until tomorrow, Saturday, December 3rd. Well, I had the opportunity to speak to City Manager Miss Janice Brathwaite Edwards, who gave us all the details on the event.
Today, Friday, we expect that from during the day at 10, we have the World Disabilities Day, and so the disabled will be coming and putting on a show. And then after that, little lighthouse, little bell ringers, some small children, they ring bells to tunes. So they're going to be on during the day to entertain the seniors who will be sitting under the tent. And then a little later this afternoon, we have the opening ceremony at 6. And we have remarks by the Premier, the Minister of Communication and Works, and the Minister of Education. And then the whole night breaks open. We have DJ music in the day, DJ music in the night. And then we have some dancers, 2 dance groups are going to be coming out tonight, Friday night. And we're going to top off the night tonight with the Loris Christopher 4-Strong International Band. They're going to top off the night tonight. Tomorrow, being Saturday, is a bigger day because Saturday we start off at 10 also. And by that time, all the vendors will be out because people usually come out on Saturday for breakfast. So they have breakfast with the vendors outside, and then once again we go at 10 o'clock, music by the DJ. Not much activity in the day except for Caribbean Insurance 35-year anniversary. They'll be celebrating Christmas cakes from around the world, their competition. That's going to happen around 2 in the afternoon, and their essay competition. Children explaining about Christmas in the British Virgin Islands, old-time Christmas in the British Virgin Islands. Then in the evening at 4, Cedar International comes out with their steel band and their fungi band. And then after them, Shooting Stars will be lighting up the air with some Christmas music. We have a one-man drummer band. He's going to be on Saturday. He blows the harmonica and plays all his instruments. One-man band. I think it's an exciting thing. It's something a little different. And then on Saturday night at about 7:30, I have my birthday bash at Christmas in the City. I made my birthday yesterday, and last year I made it and I didn't do anything. And this year, a number of people are saying, are you going to do anything this year? And yes, I'm going to do it. Big birthday bash, come out, get some cake, get some cider, get some champagne, get some juices, and let's celebrate.
Ms. Brathwaite Edwards also provided some insight into the number of vendors expected for this year's event.
This year's event, we have a total of 45 vendors. And then an addition this year is we're going to put the bouncy houses inside Hertz parking lot. So we have 3 or 4 bouncy houses. We have a little train ride, and we have a little game that's going to be played in there. And we have one youngster. She's debuting this year for the first time. She's having a kids stall. So she's just selling things that are for kids. So we're going to put her inside there. Should be an interesting, exciting time because she can do popcorn and she can do hot dog. But she's just in first form in high school, and we offered her that opportunity to be one of our guests this year.
She also revealed that the change of location in 2021 paid off beyond expectations, adding that it was a no-brainer to return to that very location this year on Shoreway Drive.
Actually, this year was a lot easier. I sent the letter to the minister. The minister approved this year. I don't think that we saw the vision last year, but when they actually came out on the scene, they actually realized that this thing could work. So we're doing it here for the second time. Whether we'll have our 25th anniversary on this street is another question, but we're hoping, because it's getting bigger and it's getting better in this particular location.
Also speaking on the event was marketing manager of CCT, Saskia Barnes, who touched on her company's involvement as the lead sponsor of the event.
So this year, it's Christmas in the City with CCT, because CCT is very proud to sponsor this year's Christmas in the City celebration. And these events have occurred in the territory for quite a number of years. It was initially Christmas on Main Street, just kind of trying to revive businesses on Main Street. Then it moved to the Castro Street, and now so it's Christmas in the City, where we do have the opportunity to have more vendors, but to just kind of really gin up more support for the business community and also vendors in the city. Road Town, it is our city, and we definitely wanted to make sure that we supported the city manager as well as the Association for the Advancement of Small Businesses.
Reporting for 284 News, I am Kamal Haynes.
Thank you, Kamal, for that report. Up next, American airline flights to be affordable, says Deputy Premier. Rotary Club of Tortola and Unite BVI partner to restore the Roger Downing Mangrove Boardwalk. And VI Motors Napa Store Duff's Bottom sponsors 7 local professionals to Tool and Equipment Expo at Napa Distribution Center. These and more stories when 284 News returns.
Freeze. Choose your mix. Choose your flavor.
Good job there, brother. All right. I'm surprised you're here.
I'm surprised you're still alive.
Charles, it's been 60 years.
I wish it was 60 more.
Let it go.
No. You know what you did.
It was just ice cream. But you know what? It was delicious.
What?
We're like a family get-together without all the family drama.
What you gonna do?
CG Insurance. Good like that.
That's out.
That's 6.
That's out.
With worldwide medical coverage and affordable premiums, we're like a home match that isn't played at your actual home. CG Insurance. Good like that.
My turn. Oh, come on, guys.
There's a reason you get up on a morning. A reason you pick yourself up, start the day. Maybe it's sheer grit. Maybe it's your ethics. Maybe it's because you know people like you are waiting for people just like you. We all have our reasons, and for Republic Bank, that reason is you. Every little thing, every big thing. It's all about making a difference in your life. Because after 182 years, if it's one thing we're sure about, is that the difference is you. We're here to help.
Republic Bank, we're the one for you.
Viewers, welcome back. Thank you so much for sticking with us. The American Airlines direct flights to the British Virgin Islands from Miami are expected to be affordable with a seating capacity that will range from between 60 to 76 passengers. Kamal Haynes has the report.
While not providing approximate figures to determine the extent of the affordability of tickets to the territory come next June, Deputy Premier and Minister for Communication and Works Honorable RYMER did say he was given assurance by the airline that the prices will be in the affordable range.
Once you go on to American Airlines tomorrow, I presume you'll see what the rate would be based on your date of travel. I know when I asked the question myself, they told me that it would be an affordable flight, and I took their word for it. They also compared it to the rates for Anguilla. So we can use Anguilla as a benchmark to compare what the rates would be.
Premier and Minister of Finance, Dr. the Honorable Natalio Wheatley, along with the Managing Director of the BVI Ports Authority, Mr. Kurt Menal, explained how the convenience of the initiative will contribute to the lowering of costs for all passengers.
And I'm not sure if the director can contribute to this as well, and just help persons understand what really goes into the price of a particular flight and how eliminating a leg of a flight can help decrease costs. For instance, of course, the flight into Puerto Rico and from Puerto Rico to the BVI, I'm told is quite expensive. It adds quite a deal of expense. You have, of course, taxes every time you land at a particular airport. You have other factors that will contribute to the cost. So perhaps maybe the director can speak to what exactly goes into the price of a ticket and how cutting out a leg of a journey can decrease the cost.
What I will add is that the appeal of direct flight between the BVI and the US is, well, one of the major appeals is convenience. So now you get to go directly to Miami and then connect beyond. You don't have the inconvenience of going on a ferry or going to Puerto Rico or Antigua or wherever else people go to. Now you could come to Beef Island, you jump on a plane and you go directly to Miami.
Menal also emphasized the level of safety measures that were undertaken by the American Airlines team to reach this stage. He said AA has been conducting testing to the BVI for approximately 2 years through the use of advanced technology and guarantee that trips onto the current size Terrence B. Lettsome International Airport runway will not pose a safety hazard with the use of their airplanes.
The technology nowadays is such that there's no need to do a test flight, as you call it, with full load, full fuel and all of that. So at the base in Dallas, I believe, they're able to put in the technical specifications and all the variables and determine that they would be able to operate safely. And what we found out in our interaction with them is that they had been running the numbers for 2 years in terms of coming to the BVI. So they know, for example, that they will be able to land with full load 76, but however, they will be restricted with 60, I believe. And that has to do with the amount of fuel they would have to carry going out.
The announcement is fresh, but residents have already expressed their interest in utilizing this needed service. Reporting for Tweet 4 News, I am Kamal Haynes.
Premier and Minister of Finance, Dr. the Honorable Natalio D. Wheatley, has warned that there are tough times ahead as global financial institutions project economic danger. The Premier made these comments as he explored releases from the IMF, World Bank, and WEF during his budget address earlier this week.
During his maiden budget presentation, Premier Dr. the Honorable Natalio Wheatley took the time to reflect on global circumstances which economies, including that of the BVI, must brace for in the coming year. To this end, the Premier explored recent releases from institutions such as the World Bank, the World Economic Forum, and the International Monetary Fund.
We are a cluster of islands, but that does not mean that we exist in isolation. We have been reminded repeatedly over the past few years that ripples emanating from countries and economies thousands of miles away do beat upon our shores. In a globalized world, this is inescapable. In 2021, institutions such as the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund forecasted that economies would begin to experience growth and recovery from the recession triggered by the COVID-19 pandemic in 2022. The situation, however, would be better in the more developed countries than the developing ones, and global output would remain 2% below the pre-pandemic projections. The IMF was highly confident of 4.9% global growth in 2022. But this was before the then unforeseen Russia-Ukraine conflict escalated in February 2022. Given the broad-ranging and deeply impactful implications of the war, it was inevitable that the outlook from the institutions would have to change.
Wheatley went on to reference the World Economic Forum's chief economist's outlook from September this year, which described the situation as a time of significant economic danger, citing persistent, surging inflation levels which have not been seen in a generation, free-fall wages, and increased human suffering among already present effects.
Governments worldwide have been placed in near impossible situations because every response option comes with high cost and even higher risks. For instance, as the World Economic Forum points out, traditional approaches to reining inflation risk triggering recession and a spike in unemployment. Fiscal support measures for struggling households risk adding to the levels of public borrowing, which for many countries are already high after the outlays required by previous crises. Debt distress is at highly concerning levels in vulnerable countries, increasing their exposure to additional shocks, such as climate-related natural disasters, and placing many in a vicious cycle of debt. The deepening of geopolitical fissures, which continues to play out, is an accelerant to this bonfire, easily perceptible in the changes taking place with global supply chains. The World Economic Forum describes the months ahead as uncharted waters.
In October 2022, the IMF's World Economic Outlook forecasted that global growth would slow from 6.0% in 2021 to 3.2% in 2022 and 2.7% in 2023. The IMF noted further, about a third of the world's economy faces 2 consecutive quarters of negative growth, and global inflation is forecast to rise from 4.7% in 2021 to 8.8% in 2022, but to decline to 6.5% in 2023 and to 4.1% in 2024, a figure the Premier notes as still very high. Given the prevailing situation, Wheatley noted that governments and people across the globe need to prepare for troubling times, during which they need to distinguish between wants and needs, and at times even prioritize what is considered a need. In regards to navigating these difficult times, the Premier noted that the IMF has made recommendations.
The IMF has made some suggestions for how to survive these challenges in the long run. These include intensifying structural reforms to improve productivity and economic capacity, and fast-tracking policies for the green energy transition to boost energy security and mitigate some of the costs associated with climate change. Being prepared and resilient tomorrow requires making the tough decisions and doing the work today. Perhaps the one consolation in crises is that challenges create the atmosphere for innovation. As people are confronted by problems, they find creative ways to overcome them. This is one of the strengths of the indomitable Virgin Islands people throughout our generations.
Wheatley said that the Virgin Islands needs to keep ahead of what is happening in the greater world in order to equip itself with the necessary education, training, technology, and diversifying of the economy to remain ahead of the curve. For 284 News, I am Jacques Wooding.
Viewers, that is it for today's newscast. I want to thank you so much for joining us, of course, for our daily edition of local, regional, and international content. We are 284 News, your source for honest and impartial news right here on 284 Media out of Tortola in the Virgin Islands. I'm Ron Grant reporting for 284 News. Happy Friday, have a beautiful rest of the day, and I will see you tomorrow with our weekly news roundup. Bye-bye.
Hon, it's asking for your password.
Huh?
You were logged out. I need the password.
BR.
What's the rest?
BRANDI, the number 4, EVER?
Who's Brandy?
We're like the password that isn't your ex-girlfriend's name. CG Insurance. Good like that.
I should have changed it.
You should have.
You're right.
5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. You want top of power.